Hey guys, it's me, Cali. Today I am very pleased to show you how I created this super cool Boho Gypsy Windcatcher out of course, recycled CDs, beads, trims, things I had around the house, and a whole lot of love. So if you're inspired to see how I made this, I would love it if you'd stick around. I'd be happy to show you. Okay guys, I'm going to start by telling you what I think we're going to be using today. Of course, all of this is subject to change depending on where our muse is taking us, but for now, I know we're going to be using some CDs, and anyone who knows me knows how much I love to upcycle CDs. You can use, new ones that haven't been used yet, or you could use old ones that have things recorded on them. You can also use DVDs for this project. It doesn't matter. So that, and then we're going to need something to string beads on. Now, I like to use this beading wire. This is 7-strand bead-along wire. This is in a silver color. It's strong and easy to work with, but if you don't have that, you can use, I have beading elastic, or one of my favorites for sure is fishing line, okay? You could use strong floss or even dental floss, all right? Just be creative. If you don't have anything I'm showing you here, use your imagination. The next thing I want to use, and I'm not sure which ones, but I want to use some bells. And I didn't have in my stash exactly what I was hoping for, but I'll show you what I possibly may work with. I have these small little bells, but they're a little too small, I think, for now. So then I saw these, and these are, like jingle bells for Christmas and holiday time. But I thought, I love silver, and I think that I'm going to use these. But look around, see what you have, and also as a focal point for our chime, or whatever you want to call this, I'm going to upcycle. I had this bell in my stash from an old wind chime, and I'll save anything that's going, mixed media artists, we will scrounge a dumpster to find treasures. So I hang on to cool things, and this was part of a mobile that I had, I don't even know from what, but it has a bell and some cool chain, so I'm going to use that. But I also have things like this. I may change my mind and use this, these little brass bells. So some type of a bell. And I also think that I'm going to be incorporating some old chain. Now, I used to go to a lot of auctions, and I love thrift stores, so I'll find cheap costume jewelry and deconstruct it. And we may be incorporating some type of chain to hang the project. Again, I may change my mind, but right now I'm saying we're going to use some chain. The next thing that I want to show you is some beads. And I have a big bead stash, but I'm really feeling the colors of the rainbow. It's springtime here right now, and I want to do something very summery and cheerful. I may do a more boho gypsy-ish one after this, but for now, for this project, we're going to go with the rainbow colors. So just an assortment of beads. And again, I've gathered beads throughout the years in my stashes. I've been gifted them. You can get them cheap at Walmart, on clearance or wherever you would find beads. So lots of beads. And then we're going to need some hardware, and I'm going to show you what I think I'm going to be using here. I have an assortment of split rings, so like jump rings, but these are stronger. They're like little mini key rings, and they could be a pain in the neck to open, but look, here's a bigger version, all right? We may use that too. So some split rings. I have some, again, speaking of the fishing department, I have some swivel hooks here. I know we're definitely going to use those. I like to use these on my hanging things because it really allows things to swivel and sway in the breeze. and hopefully this is going to be sturdy enough to go outside. I also have some, it's funny, I thought I had crimps for the ends of my beads, but I just have a plethora of crimp covers. But if you do have little crimps for your bead wires, use those, and then covers. So I'm going to improvise today and just use these cord end crimps. And they're not meant really for using with bead wire, but we're going to wrap it around and improvise, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I also may or may not use a beading needle. Usually the wire is stiff enough to allow it to just go through on its own, but if you want. So that's pretty much it. I have some bead end caps. I may or may not use those. Each strand will be different. And then, speaking of tools, I also have some pliers here, some assorted, sharp cutting pliers and round nose pliers and flat nose pliers to play with wire and crimping. And then I also have a ruler, and you can see I'm on a cutting mat right now, and this is going to help us out a lot, but it's not necessary at all. If you just have a good ruler, or if you don't like to measure, you don't have to measure. You can eyeball this. But that, I have an old pair of scissors. What else? A Sharpie marker, which will clean off nicely with some alcohol at the end, so we don't have to worry. Also speaking of alcohol, some alcohol to clean up your CDs at the end of the project. I have some E6000 glue. Make sure, obviously, whenever you're working with toxic chemicals or anything like that, use precautions, use well-ventilated areas, avoid prolonged skin contact, and watch it around kids and things like that. Just be cautious. And then I also may or may not incorporate, these are some galaxy stones, and I have a tutorial on how I created these super simply with just using these stones from the dollar store. You can incorporate something like this. I may want to use this as trim in the end, so something like that. It's to cover the hole in our CD. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I may or may not do that. And then I just received this awesome trim in some Happy Mail, and I may incorporate this too. We'll see where it goes. So that is my thought for now. And as far as other tools and hardware, I have my trusty Dremel drill. Now, you can punch through CDs with hole punches. They're much easier to work with, and you're much less likely to shatter them if you put them in a pot of boiling water first. I'm not going to do that, but if you don't have a drill and you want to use like a hammer and nail or an actual metal hole punch to punch holes, because we are going to be putting holes in our CDs, you can do that. You can boil them for, I don't know, a few minutes, and then take them out and carefully work with them. They're more pliable. Just a little tip, and some safety glasses. And I also have an old cutting board that I use to drill on, so I don't put holes in my table. Okay, so let me get set up here, and we'll get to measuring our CDs. Actually, we're going to glue them together first, and we'll carry on from there. Okay, guys, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue the CDs together. Now, I really love this holographic look, as I know so many of you do. So I'm choosing to leave this undecorated. If you want to Mod Podge or paint or, do whatever you want on the top of these, you can. But this is what I'm doing. I'm going to take the two sides with the writing on them and just take some of my trusty E6000 glue. And again, well-ventilated area. And we're just going to, a little goes a long way. Put these together, and you're going to let them dry thoroughly. Okay, so those sides together. All right, and set that aside to dry. Now, this is pretty sturdy, and these definitely can go outside, so they can get rained on. Now, I have some that have already been glued. All right, so this is dried overnight. And the next thing that we're going to do is measure our little spokes of the wheel, if you will. I've already done that, and I use my Sharpie, but I'll just show you, for instance. And this is where this cutting mat comes in really handy, but again, it doesn't have to be exact, but I'm just going to use my mat to kind of eyeball in the center of my CD, you know, a cross here. And from there, I'm just literally going to take my ruler and draw on the CD. Okay, so make the spokes of your wheel. I did 8. You're going to need at least 4. And like I said, I already have one done here, but just to show you. And the next thing we're going to do is drill our holes. Okay, and like I said, this stuff cleans off super easy when you're done. It's going to wipe right off. It'll wipe off with your finger, but the alcohol will take care of it. Okay, so when you have that done, the next thing we're going to do, and let's just move right along here, is drill our holes. And I've already pre-drilled one, but I'll show you. How I did it. Okay, I have one that's already drilled. Oh, there, you can see that much better. And if these little burrs on the CD bother you, they file right off. But this is going to be the underside. So this will be the top of our CD. But all I did was just go as close to the edge as possible without, you know, going through. And I left one so I could just show you. All right, I'm about to turn on the Dremel, so if that bothers your ears, just give me a minute. I have my safety goggles on and my hair pulled back. Just like that. Okay, again, doesn't have to be exact. And this is where we're going to be hanging our bead strands from, okay? So once you have that all drilled and done, we're going to add split rings and then swivel hooks around the top. So let me gather everything together and we'll come back and we'll add the split rings and the swivel hooks, and then we're just going to start beading. So I'll show you how to start a strand. Okay, I told you we were going to go where my muse takes me, so I just realized that I want to have some place to, I've decided to use this bell, hang the bell. I'm going to have it hanging from the center of the CD down, right? So I thought that I could hang it kind of off center, but I don't want to do that. I think the hardest part of this whole project is going to be balancing it. So, and then I thought, well, I could have it come up through here, and no. What I've decided to do is, using the existing lines that I still have, I'm going to drill 2 more holes closer to this middle here, and that way I'll be able to loop a bead wire through that and come down through the bottom so we can hang our bell when it's time to hang things. But I just want to show you that I am going to drill 2 more holes, so let me do that right now. That easy. Okay, so I think that will give me, you know, obviously what I'm looking for, and it can hang evenly on both sides. So I just wanted to show you that before I do these split rings.
See you in a minute.
Okay, so this is the look we're going for, and I saved one to show you, and I hope I can actually do it on camera because they're a pain in the butt, but I just have the swivel thing and I have a split ring, all right? So there are split ring tools. I don't own one, so I'm going to try to separate this ring here with my finger and then take my round nose pliers and put it in there to hold it open, okay? And then we're going to hopefully be able to guide this on here to fit in the hole. And it does work, I promise you. You are gonna have to finagle it a little bit, but once you get it onto the CD, as long as you don't pop it off, you should be able to just put that metal piece through. All right, and once it's through on the back there, while it's open, take your swivel and just put it on there like that, and you can hold it and just get it on there, okay? So it's that. The hardest part is dealing with opening the split ring. So this is what we have, okay guys? Now again, on the top, we're gonna hang something from the bottom. I'm not gonna mess with this right now, but what I did realize was we're not gonna be able to put the trim that I thought around because of these hanging here. Now, I could have just straight hung the beads from here through these holes, but I think this is gonna be cool enough as it is. So we'll save that for another project. And like I said, this is my first time doing this, so as I'm doing it, ideas are coming to me. And I hope this inspires you too. Tell me what you did. So here we kind of just have this pinwheel. We're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to start beading. And I'm not going to show you every step of the way as I bead, you guys. It's a random, intuitive thing for me. I'm not going to do any patterns. I'm just going to string beads on a line. But to show you what I'm doing, I told you I'm using this bead-along strand stuff here, okay? I've cut off a length. I did not measure. I'm just going with it, all right? So I have this piece here, and I'm taking one of these bells. I told you, right? And this is so easy, you guys, all right? I'm not a jewelry maker, nor do I play one on TV, but anybody can do this. I'm just gonna tie a knot very simply here, okay? If you're worried about it, you can go one more time. I'm not going to trim it. And then, just to show you how I'm going to start, okay, so I just, this little knot here, I like to hide that a little bit. So I have these little metal beads, and this is way too long, the strand I'm working with, but that's all right. And I'm going to feed this bottom wire through this as well, see? All right, and I'm going to continue to do that inside the beads, and if it sticks out, you can trim it, right? So that's that, and then, of course, we need to start with purple, so I'll just show you a couple here, and I'm literally just not even using a needle. I'm not thinking about it too much. I will use an assortment of beads from my stash, but I am going to stick with color groups for the purposes of this one. As I'm thinking about it, I really do want to do a random more. But, okay, so I'm going to continue. Oh, and I'm going to tuck this in as much as I can. All right. And you may have to do that a couple times as you're working with it, but it will eventually get just caught up in there, all right? It already is. And I'm going to do this whole strand, and as I'm doing it, I'm going to try to guesstimate. I think I'm going to try to do these all relatively the same length, but I'm not sure. But as I go, I will be looking at the CD in relation to how long I want these. And that's it. So I'm going to do one of for every strand, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what we got. So I'll see you in a long time, and I'll show you when I get to the end of the strand how we're going to finish it off to be able to attach it up here. So I'll see you in about an hour or so. Okay, as you can see, I've been very busy and I'm in love with these. What do you think, you guys? I know you're going to love them too. So I thought I would just show you how I'm ending these, and also, you know what? I think I've changed my mind about the way we're going to hang these on the CD. And I told you, this is my first time making these, so we're kind of doing this together, but I'll see what you think. But first things first. Okay, so I'm at the end of my strand. You can do this however you know how. If you know a professional way to do it, please do it. But I'm just tying a simple knot, and I'm going to try to get that as close to my top bead there as possible. I hope I'm showing you this well. Okay, so we just have that, and then like I said, I don't have any bead crimpers, wire crimpers, so I'm just using these little ribbon ones. And if you don't have them, just make a loop, and you know, it doesn't have to be anything serious. So I'm taking this and I'm just going to thread my string through this loop here. All right, and I'm going to tie a knot. Well, not really tie a knot, but I'm going to loop through twice so it's secure. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of, it's a little awkward, but I'm going to lay down the inside wire, and I'm going to wrap this around and lay down that wire as well, and kind of hold that like that, and then take my handy dandy pliers and crimp down one side and then the other. I hope you can see this okay. It's actually easier for me to do it with my fingers, just to get it over. Alright, and then I'm going to smush it really tight. And then this little bit of string here, feed back through your top beads. You know, a couple down. Pull it through. Alright, and then you can just trim it as close, and it kind of gets lost up in the bead. Alright, so that's how I ended these. Now, as far as hanging from the CD, what do you think about, excuse me, I had to take a sip. I don't like the way these are hanging off the edge here, and even though it was a big struggle to get them on, I was thinking about using these. Alright, and what are these? Eye pins, or head pins, I think. And I checked the size to make sure that the diameter wouldn't fall through the hole. So what would you think if I took these off, used these head pins here, and then made a loop? You know, just once it was threaded through, you just make a loop like this and kind of wrap it around, right? And then you trim that little piece here, but these would hang now underneath, and then we could hang the beads from there, and that way that edge wouldn't be so rough. Now I'm thinking that I still am not, the trim I don't think will be weatherproof, so we may just leave it still with the bare edge, but I think I kind of like the idea of that better. What do you guys think? Yeah, so I'm going to give that a try. What's the worst that can happen? We'll go back to this, right? So let me finish. I have a couple more strands of beads. I'm going to try it the other way. I'll show you, and if it doesn't work out, we'll be back to plan A. Okay, I made a decision, and we're going to go with it. What do you think? I think it looks better this way. Okay? And it worked out perfectly. These things do not fall through the holes that I made, as you can see. And once the beads are hanging, I am going to affix chain or something to the top here too. And we're also going to have a galaxy stone here, but I just put that through, and like I showed you before, once it's through, just kind of bend it over and literally just twist it. To make the loop. Okay? I'm not going to keep apologizing for my lack of wire skills, but we'll trim this little bit off. And then I have these, which I already took off, and they've been used so many times, they're opening easily now. And we'll just put those on. And what I'm going to do also is, it might be redundant, but I'm going to add yet another split ring down on the bottom, and that's what we're going to hang our bead strands from. So let me finish all this up. We'll get it all assembled. We're getting close. I'm thinking about how to hang it. And yeah, but I like it much better this way, you guys, without it, you know, sticking off the edge like that. What do you guys think? Let me know. Okay, this is where we're at, and I'm really happy that I decided to go that route. Now, I've done a few things. I finished all the beads. So we have purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, pink, and then like a clear crystal-y strand. I'm in love with them, as they are. We're going to clean our CD right now. And then I've already picked out a chain to use, and I'll show you how we're going to attach that. This is starting to come together very quickly now, but we still have a little bit of gluing and drying time, and I'm leaving fuzzies behind here. We'll just give this a good swipe. Alright, and we also have to hang our bell. But first let me show you the chain. I just picked a piece of chain, and you can see, once again, good old split rings to the rescue. And I put it through the top of one of the eye hooks that I used for that, okay? And what I'm going to do, I put another split ring, is just go directly opposite that right here, all right? And that's how we're going to hang this. Now, in the middle at the top, I am going to use another split ring and apply this swivel hook, okay? So for but you don't have to. You could just leave it as it is, all right? But we'll do that, and then the last step we're going to do will be to put the beads on. First, I want to figure out how to hang the bell, and I've decided to use this one. It's the longest one out of the three that I had like this. And once again, my favorite combo here, split ring and a swivel hook thing. And all I'm going to do is use some of the same wire, and we have our holes in the top of the CD, and I'm going to thread it through on either side, if I could do it. Alright. Of course, I cut way too much. And we're going to be gluing a stone over this, so you're not going to see this. And it's going to be at the top anyway, so. Okay, and I've already attached, like you saw, so I'm literally just going to tie it off once. And maybe I should use a bead here, but not. Do I have one handy? Yeah, I do. Alright, I will. So I'm just going to use one of my little metal beads that I used at the bottom of the other ones to just kind of pull it over that knot so you don't see it. And let's just tie this in here. So I'm going to and again, if you guys have a better way, let me know. I'm working this out as we're doing it together here. And I think that this is going to be more than sturdy because this is wire, not string. So, and let's just cut that. Okay. And then over the top of this, and again, remember I still have to attach the chain, I have one of my galaxy stones, and I'm going to use our trusty toxic E6000 and apply a liberal amount to my craft mat, to the CD, and cover that wire that we just did. Alright, so I press it down and let it dry. And so in the meantime, I'm going to attach this chain, like I said, and the swivel hook. Alright, and then also I am going to get ambitious here while we're drying things. And I am going to apply this trim. It keeps calling to me. I really, really want to use it. And I am going to apply some of the E6000 again around the rim of the CD. And I've decided this is going to be an indoor CD decoration, or I haven't decided what to call it yet. So if you're going to put this outside, obviously use trim that will withstand the weather, but doesn't that look great? So let me do all this gluing and everything, and I'll come back. And you know what? I think I may just attach the beads too while we're at it. And I'll come back and I'll show you everything all pulled together, okay? Give me a little bit. I gotta let it dry. I just had to show this to you this far, you guys. It looks like a UFO, doesn't it? I'm kind of in love with it, even just like this. Here's our bell, and this is what I did to the top. And like I said, I put this on the swivel. And look at that iridescence. Hello. So now I am going to apply the fringe and the beads. And when it's all dry, I'll come back and I'll show you. But I just had to show you it like that. Oh, I'm so excited. It's so cool. Okay, guys, it's just easier for me to show you from this angle. The trim is on, and I am so glad I decided to put it on. What do you think? I just used the E6000, and it went on super easy without a mess. And, oh man, I'm just loving this more and more. So let me hang the beads on it, all right? And we'll see what it looks like. I just wanted to let this set and dry for a little bit. Okay, I wanted to show you as I'm adding the beads here. This is going to be a video of changing my mind because I think this is too much hanging off the end here. Now I'm using a jar, obviously, to sit this in while I'm working on it, but I don't like the look of all this hardware before the bead starts. So I am going to remove this swivel hook that I thought was so important, as well as this split ring here, and I'm just going to use this ring directly from under the pom-pom, so you won't see any of the hardware, hopefully, except just a little bit. So I wanted to tell you that. Yeah, sometimes you don't know these things until you try it out, right? So let me finish adding the beads. I think we're gonna Okay, guys, the beads are all on, and as you can see, we have a tilting problem, which I kind of knew was going to happen. So what I'm going to do is, I should have just did it in the beginning, but I'm going to cut this chain in half, and I'm going to go across like it is, and then I'm going to go across this way as well. So we'll have 4 pieces of chain coming up, and that will balance it out. But doesn't it look incredible? I'm so pleased with this. So let me just fix that one little detail, And I'll hang it up so you could see it better, but I love it.
All right, see you in a
I
minute.
think I finally got it this time. What do you think? Ah, I hope you guys are inspired to create your own Boho Gypsy Windcatcher. And if you do, please let me know. I hope you would love this as much as I do. I really kind of stumbled through this, you guys, but I couldn't be any more pleased with the way it turned out. So give me a thumbs up if you like this. I'll try to insert some good pictures. And thanks for hanging out here and being here. And make sure you check out my gypsy sister, Miss Rita Marie, as well as all the links below where you can join us each month at the Gypsy and Witch Facebook group. We'd love to have you. Yeah, peace and love. I thought I'd give you one more shot of it while it's hanging up. This is where it's going to live for a little while at least, in my doorway. And have I mentioned that I love it? See you soon, guys. Take care.